Well, what am I going to say that the other JJK content creators haven't said? Kusakabe is a bozo. Kusakabe shined. I guess she put some mosquito bites in Sukuna, and for that, you're telling me I should raise my Kusakabe stock. I love even how Gege does the thing that Gege does very well, in which that towards fighting Sukuna, we see what these combatants are able to do, from Yuta to Higuruma, and you think, because this is the final battle, that some of those people will contribute towards getting us one step closer towards defeating the King of Curses, but then that narrative kind of flipped when we realized from Urame glazing Sukuna that he hasn't gone all out, and then we saw the ultimate ideals clash of who's better, a heavenly restricted body or a master who's great at using Jujutsu, right? Sukuna versus Maki, and then Maki got Black Flash into oblivion, and don't worry, I still think she's alive. But that aside, after Urame established that Sukuna hasn't gone all out, what is each sorcerer going to do? And that presents the Sukuna problem, which I'm sure you guys know what the Sukuna problem is. New character enters and gets hyped to fight Sukuna, does some little to no damage. Sukuna defeats them while holding back, also hating Yuji, which, come on, that's true and pretty hilarious. And the cliffhanger to a new character as the chapter ends. Now that we have the Sukuna problem, and now that Kusakabe is faced against Sukuna in chapter 254, well, certainly, what is he going to do that Yuta, Maki, and Yuji couldn't have done against the King of Curses? Absolutely nothing. Although I always appreciate a flashback of Gojo, Nanami, and the Groomer, complimenting why Kusakabe is the top of the crop when it comes to grade 1 sorcerers, and they describe how his simple domain is really a cut above the rest. And although that is impressive, we aren't at some preliminary battle in a tournament. This is the final battle, and we know what the King of Curses is capable of. Hell, we still haven't seen him activate his curse technique, the hidden one anyway. While I do find it somewhat impressive, it's a little hard to kind of get behind when ultimately Kusakabe gets slashed across the chest. Is he dead? I don't know. He looks dead. Does it matter? Is anyone going to cry if we find out in chapter 255 that he's gone? No, not really. But then what makes it even more comedic, where Miguel rescues Ui because, you know, Ui has been using his teleportation technique to bring people back to Shoko to heal their injuries, right? And I think there might be something going on with that, which I'll describe in a bit. But what I found so bizarre beyond the chapter itself was the narration saying, here's Miguel, the person that stood toe-to-toe with Satoru Gojo. And for people who don't remember who Miguel is the guy who hung out with Geto when, you know, he was actually still Geto back in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 during the night parade of 1,000 demons, something like that. And Miguel fought Gojo for some time to keep him distracted, but ultimately lost. And here's the thing, I'm going to assume everyone watching this video saw the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, and if you haven't, it's readily available on Crunchyroll, so go ahead and watch it. When you get to that specific moment in the movie where it's Miguel versus Gojo, I don't know who was watching that battle and thought for 1 second, wow, Miguel is holding his own against Satoru Gojo. At the end of chapter 254, that this is the guy who is on par with Gojo Satoru. I'm like, no, my guy, I don't believe that. And if you think this guy is just going to defeat Sukuna, well, obviously that can't happen. To see Miguel, is that something nice and unexpected that no one saw from the fandom? Sure, but the problem is, the Sukuna problem is the new narration in this story. So at this point, what I would like to see, and I think what everyone would like to just get a nice change of pace, is for the merger to happen. Let the merger happen. At least it would be something different and breaks from the nuances that has been established in these past 5 to 7 chapters already. But when I reread chapter 254, and then I actually, before started this recording, I saw Zonin's review, so go ahead and check that out. There is a moment when Kusakabe is monologuing and saying, you know, why am I fighting as hard as I do? Because, you know, he's a coward, he likes to complain, yada, yada, yada. He brings up Yaga, and Yaga is the principal who ended up dying immediately after the Shibuya incident, and the person who created Panda. And Kusakabe brings up that he's fighting his hardest for his sensei, what he ultimately did for his sister's son, who Yaga created into a cursed corpse so that his sister can still have her son, and it's a very touching moment. Which gets me to think, why did Gege bring that up unexpectedly in this chapter? Well, maybe there might be more implications going on with what Shoko is doing with the dead bodies, and maybe how Yaga's curse technique works. So basically, Yaga discovered how how to grant inanimate objects sentience and the ability to produce their own curse energy after 3 months. At the heart of Yaga's technique was his ability to replicate a person's soul information by using their physical information. He could create cursed corpses by placing 3 compatible souls along with physical information into the core of the doll. And that's how you get someone like Panda. Could Shoko be using the dead corpses, assuming Yuta, Gojo, and whoever else faced off against Sukuna is truly dead, into this ultimate being, kind of like Panda? Well, maybe, but the problem is that Yaga also confessed that it takes like 3 months to actually perform. So unless there's someone like Shoko or someone else that can expedite that 3-month process, maybe there's some type of a theory that could be established right here, and maybe there's something we need to watch closely. And even the conversation that Higuruma said about passing on to the afterlife and cursing your opponent that defeated you, something along those lines. And hey, if you're watching this, I'm about to hit 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and do me a favor. If anything, thanks to Kusakabe, I got 1 step closer towards reaching my dreams. And with that said, if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content on this channel, you're going to want to click on this video right here.